On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Plenty of takeaways from Yankees-Dodgers where LA sent the message on Saturday, and the only way the Yankees could salvage it was somehow beating Yamamoto, and they did.
You're staring a sweep in the face. And after losing the World Series, knowing what the opponent is, you know what the narrative would have been on Sunday Night Monday. Oh, Yankees get swept by the Dodgers.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, who had such a good training camp last year, and it looked like he was pretty good, I believe, in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken, ended up going down for the full year. The Vikings are still obviously committed to him.
They knew that McCarthy was going to be available at some point in June. And McCarthy actually went on record last week. He confirmed 2 weeks ago he was cleared medically. He did work last week. And he's going to be their starter.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions is here with you for another 30 minutes. They were like, hey, okay, Dubs, we don't really appreciate you not being here on a Monday and a Tuesday. Let's get you a half hour on the front end, a half hour on the back end. I said, is Coach going to be there? You better believe it. Coach James Young in the mix. JY, great to have you, sir.
Yeah. Let's go. Game 6. This could be it. But I am excited to be here. They thought JY's coming to the team. Oh, no. JY's ready to rock. JY's got his pad. JY's got the Liberty game. By the way, Sabrina Nescu over 2.5, made 3. Sabrina.
She's red hot.
Yeah, 1 of 4 from 3 to start the game in the first half. But, we can go. But we got some NBA to talk about.
We certainly do, JY. I want to just play this for everybody, yourself included. Tyrese Halliburton is in. Here is what Tyrese Halliburton, when they were asked about some of the risks and how he felt going into tonight's game and playing, of course, with their season on the line.
Tyrese, obviously you want to play. Everybody always wants to play. And it is the finals, which only makes you want to play more. How smart do you have to be, I guess, in this situation? Or are you not even thinking in those terms at this point?
Well, I think it depends on who you ask. I mean, you're asking me, so I think I have to be as smart as I want to be. I have to understand the risks, ask the right questions. But I'm a competitor. I want to play. I'm going to do everything in my power to play, and that's just what it is. But, I mean, I think the answer to that is dependent on who you ask.
I think, again, for me, when listening to Tyrese talk there, it's like, depends who you talk to. It says to me that there is certainly not a 100% confidence in Halliburton's health going into this basketball game. Going up against a defense like this, the fact that Halliburton has a much lower floor than other stars within this league, it's how you get a game like last game. No made field goals, no points in the first half. Did chip in 6 assists and 7 boards with the 4 points that he finished with, but ultimately not good enough. And Halliburton tonight, JY, enters this game with every number telling us he's not healthy. 12.5 points, 6.5 assists. What do you make? It's the most important part of this game, I believe. I'm sure you do as well. What do you make of Tyrese Halliburton entering tonight's game?
That he's absolutely not healthy at all, and Mark Daigneault's going to push the pace early on in the game.
Okay.
That's why I think I liked your first quarter points for SGA. I like actually the team total over 115.5 for OKC. 6 of the last 7 games that they've won in the playoffs, they've gone over this. So if I'm Mark Daigneault, I'm pushing the pace right away. But there's something interesting that I was thinking about. I was thinking about, Kev, the OG Anunoby Game 7 when he really should not have played and he hit those 2 threes. If I'm Carlisle, I need offense, right? Because I think Oklahoma City's going to bring it. I would have, honestly, Nembhard bring the ball up the floor, and I would put Halliburton on the second side. So, honestly, I'm intrigued that I think that Halliburton at 2-1 to get 3+ made threes. Because here's the other thing. Even if he comes off the screen, he's not going to have any ability to explode to get to the basket or get to that little floater game that he likes to get to. So to me, he becomes more of a shooter, and that means Nembhard becomes more of a distributor because there's no one else. I mean, maybe Siakam would maybe rebounds plus assists. I think Siakam's going to have a huge game for this game to be close. But I think you adjust what you do and make Tyrese be more of a shooting and then maybe have someone else be the distributor or at least the guy that initiates the offense.
Would you agree, though, that for Indiana, even though it's what makes the headlines is him not impacting the game offensively, in terms of him holding up, the bigger worries on the defensive side of the basketball in this game?
Yeah, and I think that's why one of my best bets is Lou Dort to go over 7.5 points.
Oh, interesting.
You know, because
that's such a nice zag.
You know, because if you think about, and you know where I'm going, I've been with Lou Dort for threes, and I'm sitting there looking around saying, well, you know, if Lou Dort makes 2+ made threes, it's minus 148. But like now, if it's Halliburton, now maybe he attacks him off the bounce, and now he gets to the basket, and he gets other things that way, get to the free throw line. And honestly, the thing is, if you also, Lou, for someone that's kind of big and bulky, secretly athletic, so you get him out in transition where Halliburton's got to turn and kind of sprint. He may not be able to do that. So 7.5 points, I think, is a really good play for Lou Dort.
Yeah, the bet that I'm on tonight that most represents the Halliburton injury coach is Benedict Mathurin over 11.5 points. He averages over 20 points a game this season when he played without Halliburton. Now, Tyrese is going to play tonight. I don't know if he plays 35 minutes, but even if he does, we've seen Mathurin get there without. It's just that type of scoring, that type of athleticism, that type of pop is something that this Pacers team needs in a game like this. And I think a really good number is to me, absolutely worth the look.
And if you think, like Kevin had his over 6.5 points in the first quarter, if I'm not mistaken, for SGA.
Yeah.
So to me, if you're playing from behind, Nembhard goes to the bench, you need Benedict Mathurin as someone that can go get a bucket because you don't have a lot of guys that can create shots or get themselves to the free throw line like Benedict Mathurin. So I like that. But as you zig, I'm going to zag the other way and go under 10.5 for TJ McConnell.
Okay.
Because now I think he got 18, you know, telling all the brothers, you can't guard me. We're going to see tonight because they're going to bring the defense. But I also think because of the fact that if TJ's coming in, he can't like try and be hero because of the fact that no Halliburton or the Halliburton compromise. Kevin, he's going to have to create for his teammates. So, and once that thing got to 10.5, Kevin, I'm like, that's when they lost me. If it was 9.5, I was going to be on the fence. That extra point's a lot. Mathurin over 11.5, McConnell under 10.5.
I think one of the interesting things is if we see Halliburton, JY, end up playing 20 minutes, right? If I just said Halliburton can't close, okay, which would be super unfortunate, but is on the board, what do you think a Pacers closing lineup then? Like, we know Pascal, Nesmith, and Nembhard are probably all out there. Turner and Mathurin, Toppin and McConnell.
It's honestly all going to play depend on how they want to play the game. Right? If they want to get up and down, Obi Toppin goes in, Siakam, you can go small ball and go that way. But to me, I think what's even more interesting is can McConnell be that piece in regards to it's either going to be Nembhard or McConnell that's going to have to run the point at that point. Who are you more comfortable with, right? But to me, no matter where you slice or dice it, whether Halliburton can close or not, I think this is a big spot for Benedict Mathurin. So not just the 11.5 points. Kevin, I wouldn't mind if you went 15 plus at plus money. Just do an alt line with him because I think he's going to have to be the guy. And I think because of that 115.5, that's why I'm thinking you're going to have to play from behind. You're going to have the guys who have to get out and score and knock down threes.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of different ways that we can try and attack the Pacer side of it. But the Oklahoma City Thunder, that's who's on the brink of a championship. And that is what you have tonight. And there's a couple of different things that we've heard from these guys coming into these games. We'll hear it on the other side from Shea about staying focused and Carlisle about the crowd and how all of these things factor in, man. Playing in the finals, coaching in the finals, betting on the finals. It is different. You know that, and that's what we're going to try and go through here. I also envision we will get both starting lineups on the other side of this commercial break. So make sure you are with us here as Game Time Decisions possibly for the last time this NBA season takes you up until tip-off, where, of course, In-Game Live will have you covered tonight between OKC and Indiana. A number that is now down to 5.5 in some spots with the Halliburton playing news that we've been given. We'll continue to cover it here after a quick break on SportsGrid.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's In-Game Live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of 18.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Back to right here on SportsGrid. And tonight's game, of course, in Indiana. It's the last game, no matter what, that the Pacers will play at home. And Rick Carlisle is, I think, correct when talking about the atmosphere that those home Indiana fans are set to create tonight.
You guys won a road game. They won a road game. They did their job last game, won a game in Oklahoma. And now in Game 6, you have the chance to go with 7. I'm asking that because the atmosphere around this series and Oklahoma came such a big favorite.
Yeah, I mean, we've been in this position before. We were in this position last year in the New York series. We were down 3-2, and we were coming back home. And so what we need to do is buckle down, stand strong, where we should. And I anticipate one of the best crowds in the history of Gainbridge Fieldhouse, and we got to find a way. And the ultimate is to get to a Game 7. That's the ultimate privilege. It's the ultimate experience in sports. But we've got to take care of home court tomorrow to do that.
And again, for me, look, it's not a surprise, right? It's not breaking news that it's going to be an incredible crowd, but it's worth mentioning. And it's one of those, like, make sure you're in front of the TV when they do the starting lineups and get a sense of what that opening for the game is going to be, and watch those Thunder players and see who looks ready and who doesn't. One guy I think will be ready is SGA, and here is what he said about staying in the moment and prepared with the chance to win a championship, obviously within their grasp.
Accomplishments. You're a win away from putting the finishing touches on a season that's like in the special category historically. How do you wrap your mind around that?
Focusing on Game 6, focusing on like just being the best version of myself for this basketball team, for whatever it takes, like for however many games there is, for however many possessions is needed, for however many moments. Like ultimately, I'm just trying to stay in the moment. I think that's what's gotten me here. That's what's helped me achieve the MVP award, achieve all the things that I've achieved, and I help this team win basketball games. So trying to stick to that script and just focus on winning basketball games.
JY, just from your perspective, everyone's talking about what the Pacers have to do, but am I wrong to say that OKC is walking into something they haven't seen yet this season?
No, they're not walking in something like this. And you have a team with their backs against the wall that's going to have a rabid, crazy fan base. The start is going to be important. That's why I think Kevin Smart with the over 6.5 points for SGA, because in this spot, you lean on your best player. Mm-hmm. You're leaning on your best player to get yourself going. You also, honestly, want to lean on your defense. So I wonder a couple of things. Number one, if Tyrese Halliburton is starting, do you pick him up full court? Do you get, does number bring the ball up the floor? And if I am, obviously, OKC, I'm trying to run early. That's why I'm intrigued by, total points in the first quarter. I think that's something where you want to get out and run and try to get athletic, fast break plays that can demoralize a team. And then if you look carefully, until Game 5, Kevin, Oklahoma City hadn't taken advantage of the turnovers, right? If folks, just go look at the stat sheet. The shooting was eerily close. The threes were eerily close. There was more rebounds done by, Indiana. But they got crushed in transition and in the turnovers that they gave up. So to me, if I'm Mark Daigneault, the best way I can do it is when you get in a half-court game, you allow the crowd to get into it. No. You got to get steals, you got to get rebounds, and get out and run. So not just the fact of the Halliburton injury, but the fact that it's best for you to play fast so that the fans really can't get to it and yell defense in those half-court possessions.
Yeah, SGA in the first quarter of the NBA Finals took 12 shots. I really think tonight could look like something similar. I just think he's going to be so ready to attack, and I don't think he's going to leave any doubt when it comes to that Finals MVP market. I also and I haven't gotten your thoughts yet quickly, Coach, but I just don't think there's any case to be made for Jalen Williams. I am, it's one of those things. I saw someone make a case, and it's now bothered me that I can't stop talking about it. Do you feel that this is close?
No. SGA is going to have like a John Starks-esque game, and there's got to be a Game 7. because he's so ball dominant in what he does, and at the point of attack, he's the first person you see bring the ball up the floor, and his defense and everything like that. Jalen Williams has been fantastic. We have to give him his flowers. 40-point game, it was fantastic. But don't give me this crap that this guy's going to be MVP. Like I don't buy it. I don't buy it. It's strictly him. And if the Pacers make some kind of incredible run coming back, then that's when it gets interesting, because depending on how Tyrese plays, then you got to look at maybe someone like Siakam.
If they do it, you have to imagine Tyrese is going to be impactful in that. And I'll just make this point quickly. Hey, but SGA is still minus 650. SGA and the Thunder to win this series have just been the same number the whole time. They're now minus 22,000. So there is a huge gap that has not been there at all. So I know that it looks like it's Shea far gone conclusion. You know, so was Tatum last year at the closing number in Game 5 against the Mavericks. Now, again, I don't feel sorry for Tatum. He was not that good in the finals. He shot under 40% from the field and 22 a night. He left that door open. J-Dub is playing better than Tatum did last year. That's how good Shea has been. Special. 4 guys other than Shea who have scored 30-plus points 4 or more times in a series. Giannis, Durant, Steph, LeBron. We've talked about it, JY. We're not watching, in terms of Shea, a pretty good player. This guy is 1 win away and getting the trophy he deserves from, all-time stuff is in front of him.
Yeah, you can look at him as a top 10 point guard already, and you look at him as possibly the best player in the world, particularly if he goes out and does what I think he's going to do, which give them problems tonight.
We're going to give you all of our bets for game number 6 tonight, plus some WNBA sizzles from Coach James Young here on SportsGrid.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis, because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Plenty of takeaways from Yankees-Dodgers, where LA sent the message on Saturday, and the only way the Yankees could salvage it was somehow beating Yamamoto, and they did.
You're staring a sweep in the face. And after losing the World Series, knowing what the opponent is, you know what the narrative would have been on Sunday Night Monday. Oh, the Yankees get swept by the Dodgers.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, who had such a good training camp last year, and it looked like he was pretty good, I believe, in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken, ended up going down for the full year. The Vikings are still obviously committed to him.
They knew that McCarthy was going to be available at some point in June. And McCarthy actually went on record last week. He confirmed 2 weeks ago he was cleared medically. He did work last week. And he's going to be their starter.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions. We're going to close it out with the NBA Finals game number 6. Kevin Walsh, Coach James Young. Let's go through any of the picks, JY. Give the people the WNBA action first. I know the Liberty game's on now. We've got a fever game tonight going up against the Valkyries.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Natasha Howard over 5.5 rebounds. If you look at the Valkyries are top 5 in rebounding percentage. My concern sometimes with Aaliyah Boston, Kevin, being a little bit of an undersized 5. Look for Natasha Howard to get over 5.5 rebounds. Obviously, live right now, Sabrina Ionescu over 2.5, made 3. She has 1 midway third quarter. Pretty good game between the Liberty and the Mercury so far.
Okay, I am going to take a look at Caitlin Clark, JY, over 14.5 rebounds plus assists. Just looks like a nice little bounce back spot. Only 6 assists last game, only 1 rebound. I know there's a boost out there on FanDuel. I think that's worth a look.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think at the end of the day, the Valkyries are secretly good defensively. I think there's a lot that she can do in regards to create shots. I think it's very important, very, very important for them to try and get Aaliyah Boston going. She's not looked good as of late. That could be something to look at. But Caitlin Clark distributes, get other people involved tonight.
Yeah, I think that makes plenty of sense there. Okay, so tonight, JY, your card, NBA Finals, game number 6.
Yeah, I'm going to go Oklahoma City Thunder over to 115.5, over in 6 of their last 7 games in which they won. Pushing the pace tonight, definitely trying to lead their defense to offense. Next, Lou Dort over 7.5 points. Over 4 of the last 6 games. Carlisle, I think, is going to dare him to beat him by knocking down shots, but I like the points rather than going to over 1.5 made threes. Miles Turner over 4.5 rebounds. Lord have mercy, you're 6'11". I mean, this guy is the black version of Brooke Lopez. Can I get 5 rebounds for the love of God? Over 2 of the last 5 games. I think he gets there tonight. TJ McConnell under 10.5 points. The Crow Kevin, because I like to do it. He's going under 10.5 today because I think he's going to have to be a creator for Indiana.
All right, 2 things. One, it is so funny to say, to quote Kevin, like it's not like a phrase or anything, but it works. 2, you love betting bigs who don't rebound a lot and then yelling at them.
Yes!
It's so funny.
But listen, the reason why I like it is he did go over last game.
Yeah.
And I think it's different when there's a double big lineup and he's got to guard Hartenside. So let me throw that in. Let me give you some reasoning behind it.
No,
but
that's the
damn,
thing.
Give me 5 rebounds.
You never bet these guys. You would think when JY gets into these that it would be like, come on, he's 7 foot, he's going to grab 6 rebounds. It's never that. He gives you, there's a real breakdown, but he doesn't even care about his own breakdown. He's like, no, just grab him. You're 7 feet tall, which is great. Okay, Shea over the 6.5 first quarter points on FanDuel. Get the best of the number. Obviously, I'm not swinging you the minus 525 over on DK. Shea, 2 made threes, minus 106. Last game didn't make any. He's not made 2 in 4 straight games. Hasn't done it since game 1 where he made 3. Like I said, I think Shea's going to come out firing tonight a little bit, and it's just a nice value spot. It's the best number we've seen on that all series. Same thing with Jalen Williams over the 10.5 rebounds and assists. We're getting even money on that one. I think he's landed 10 4 times in the 5 games, which is just crazy. And then give me Benedict Mathurin over the 11.5 points at plus 106. The SGA coach is my best bet just because you can't compete kind of for what for me feels like the value of it all. Mm-hmm. I'm really liking that Mathurin play though. I feel pretty good about Mathurin scoring. At least I'm going to get the volume is how I feel.
Well, you're going to get the volume, but you're also going to get the fact that you're going to have to be playing from behind.
Yeah.
And the fact if Tyrese Halliburton is compromised, all right, ready? Let's go through it. Can Nembhard create his own shot? No. CJ McCollum? Yeah, but he does a little bit too much. Siakam, yes. Obi Toppin? Oh, God, no. Miles Turner, just get rebounds. Don't worry about doing all the other stuff. Benedict Mathurin plays a critical part in this because he's going to have to be able to create offense. And, Kevin, he's good enough where he can drive, he's strong enough to get fouled, and he gets to the free throw line.
So, even if we're not on him tonight, though, lean on the side, lean on the total.
I like the total more than anything, more than a side. I think this is a perfect opportunity. Ready, folks? You can get yourself into a middle. I expect Oklahoma City to jump out first, get that thing at 11, 12.5, then let that thing come down because Indiana makes a run, maybe at minus 2.5, money line, minus 3.5, and get yourself a good middle. I don't think they get blown up by 15, but I know Oklahoma City will tonight. I lean over, yes.
Okay, yeah. I would lean Pacers and over. I don't mind a Pacer team total at all. Just also, if you want a quirky thing to track, Chet Holmgren has had a positive plus-minus in all 5 games. Last time a starter did that was Tim Duncan in 2013, and that series didn't go 6. So Chet can make a little plus-minus history. Coach James Young, Kevin Walsh, the NBA Finals, next, here on SportsGrid.
25th at 7:30 p.m. Ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Plenty of takeaways from Yankees-Dodgers where LA sent a message on Saturday, and the only way the Yankees could salvage it was somehow beating Yamamoto, and they did.
You're staring a sweep in the face. And after losing the World Series, knowing what the opponent is, you know what the narrative would have been on Sunday Night Monday. Oh, the Yankees get swept by the Dodgers.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
The Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, who had such a good training camp last year, and it looked like he was pretty good, I believe, in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken, ended up going down for the full year. The Vikings are still obviously committed to him.
They knew that McCarthy was going to be available at some point in June. And McCarthy actually went on record last week and confirmed 2 weeks ago he was cleared medically. He did work last week. And he's going to be their starter.
Newswire. Only on
And welcome in. It's in-game live game day, and it is a game day, maybe the final game of the NBA regular postseason 2024-25. We will see Game 6. Scott and Dave Sharapan for the next hour and a half, right up until 10 p.m. Eastern Time, watching, analyzing, betting in the world of sports. Do have our NBA game final, and we also have a few baseball games, a lot of doubleheaders today with the rainouts yesterday. We got a couple of games that have yet to begin as well, so we'll have all that. Our SGPs, our 5 on the line, our Black Cloud, all within the next scrunched into an hour and a half here until 10 p.m. Eastern Time. What's going on, Dave? How are you tonight?
Good to see you, Mr. Wetzel. Good to be here on In-Game Live Game Day with you. And, the biggest news of the day was that Adrian Peterson got into a fight at a poker tournament, and SportsGrid was on in the background. I think it was your and I show. Right there, yeah. Look at this. The boys have it right there. And as things are getting heated up, they move over and pan over, and then boom, look at that.
Freeze, there it is.
Right there. Donnie Rightside got, Donnie Rightside got the billing because it was a commercial running, but I think it was during the time you and I were on. So good to know that they were watching us down there. So thank you for that. We were really close to making that screen. Yeah, Donnie Rightside. Hat tip to you, sir. It is the last game of the NBA postseason, I think, tonight. I wore black. I don't know if it's appropriate to wear black at the end of a season. It's done. I wore the Thunder hat. The Thunder are winning the game. Scott, the question is, are the Thunder covering the spread?
Yes, that is it. By the way, when we have a time, we'll get into the Adrian Peterson. How I almost got fired from the three-letter network about Adrian Peterson. Yeah, I didn't see any. I didn't see any tree branches around. That he must have lost a fight, and see him whipping anybody.
Stop it!
But that
Stop it!
stops. Now let it go. Let it go. It was a long time ago. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go.
Come on.
Quickly, here's the problem before we get to our 5 on the line with betting OKC tonight. You got two issues. One, I can't find anyone, and this is really the biggest issue. I can't find anyone that likes Indiana tonight. Like nobody, even the biggest Indiana fan in the world doesn't seem to think Indiana's got a shot tonight. So I'd rather be on the side of the boys in Vegas, Indiana, than I would the public. And two, bottom line is OKC's only covered one road game, and that was game 4, and that was a very fortunate cover. They did, but they had no business covering. Laying 6.5. They're down 7 fourth quarter. Bunch of fouls in the final couple of seconds allowed them to win by 7. They get the cover by 1 or a half, depending on what your line was. But so they haven't played well on the road. So why would they play that much better tonight when Indiana's life is on the line? So those are the two issues that I kind of have with betting OKC tonight. But we'll break it all down, but we do got to get our 5 on the line, 5 best trends for games that have yet to begin. And even though there's only a couple, we were able to squeeze it out. Went 2-2 yesterday. We had a rain out with the Brewers and Cubs game. So we went 2-2 yesterday. Still 64 games. You heard me right. 64 games over 500. So time for our 5 on the line, Dave. All right, we'll start with baseball. 5 down to the very best one. Astros and A's out in Sacramento. Astros playing great ball, 7-1 their last 8. Also 11-5 their last 16 against the Oakland, Sacramento, pick a name, A's. So it's not great, but it's pretty solid. Let's go with Houston. Money line, get a pretty good price, -136. I guess I'll bump up to -140 or so. But yeah, basically 135, 140, depending on where you do your shopping. Houston against the A's tonight.
I got one little number for you here that I think you'll like. The righty-heavy Astros lead the majors in OPS versus lefties in 2025. That's an 839 OPS. Guess which way the pitcher for the A's tonight,
Lopez.
Gordon, throws? Or Lopez, I mean. Lefty or righty?
Yeah. He's got to be a lefty.
He's a lefty. Here we go.
He is a lefty. There you go.
I like it.
Pick play number 4 on our list, 5 down. 4. Dodgers, keep on playing them. We keep on giving this out. And they don't lose against San Diego. It's amazing. Now 23-4 going for the series sweep. They're pretty good overall, but especially at home, 23-4. It's a big number. It is. Dodgers minus the 270 is the play. You want to put it in a parlay. You want to risk putting it in by a game and a half. I didn't look up all 27 games to see how many they did actually win by 2, but I will say it's got to be a majority of them. So, but our play trend, put it in a parlay if you want. Dodgers minus the 270 against the Padres.
How about this? The Dodgers over the last 10 days have won 5 of 6 versus the Padres. They now lead by 4.5 games. The Padres have lost all 3 games of this series so far, despite scoring first run in each one of them. So if you don't want the 270, wait for the Padres to score, then come back on the Dodgers. What's number 3?
Number 3, same game. Now, it didn't hit last night, but it did hit 2 nights ago. Dodgers and Padres again. Dodgers 19-7 over their last 26 games at home. Again, it didn't hit last night, but you get a better number tonight. Yamamoto's on the hill. That's why. It's actually a halfway decent number as far as how big it is with Yamamoto on the hill. But hopefully the Dodgers get 6-7 runs. We don't have to worry too much about it. But over 8.5 San Diego against LA.
As crazy these games have been, tonight's the night I like the under. I think Yamamoto pitches well, keeps the game to the under. Maybe if you don't like that, go San Diego team total under. Not bad. Yeah. Good luck with the over. What's number 2?
Yeah, I like the under as well. Number 2, we'll go over to the NBA. It's a little goofy one. All right, so we were thrown out of whack with this one because the trend's kind of weird, but it's a solid trend. Pacers, 46-22 24 games better against the spread in the fourth quarter. Meanwhile, OKC is only 39-46 straight up in the fourth quarter. So it's pick 'em tonight, fourth quarter. Give me Indiana, right? Pick 'em. No matter what the score is, it's just the fourth quarter score.
Okay. Wow, this is really interesting. Not many people like to play the quarters before they see what's happened in any part of the game. So you stepping out a little bit like this doesn't surprise me. That's what you do on a nightly basis. I like it. Okay. I don't know. I'm not sure about that one, but we saved the best one for last. What's number one?
Number one, the creme de la creme coup de grace numero uno trend of the night. We're going to cheat just a little on this one. Here we go. 5 on the line. Indiana Pacers have scored 108 points or more in 45 of their 51 home games this year, including postseason. So, what's the over-under on Indiana today? There we go. The best 5 on the line trend. Let's go over 108. It may be 108.5, depending on where. That's why I say we're going to cheat just a little bit, but over 108 Indiana team points.
No matter the result, you're good with this total?
Yes, I am. I do think we get some points tonight. I've been saying it all season.
All right. Wow. So 2 basketballs and the rest baseballs. Where does that go tonight? I'll say 3 and 2.
Well, the Dodgers, I think we're going to win, right? So 2 and 2. The other ones, I like the Astros too. I'm not sure why that line is. So I think we go 4 and 1. I think we go 4 and 1.
Okay.
I think we hit the Indiana.
Be good.
You know, the only one I don't. Neither one of us seem to like the over in the Dodger Padre game.
Not sure about that one. Not sure about that.
Yeah, that's the only one. But we're 10 and 4 this week. 64 games over 500, 186 and 122. So, not bad.
Good.
I would think. So let's hope. So
Are the Mets winning yet?
Yesterday. No. Yankees won, so the Mets have to kind of follow suit. But it's only 1-1.
Nationals won.
How about that? Nationals broke their 11-game losing streak. We'll take a look at the board and get more of the day on the NBA when we come back.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Have awoken. Maybe they are the best team out in the West because a rooting interest for me, Tom, always the Mariners. Hey, they're finally getting the hitting back, but now that's starting to slide.
We can make the case for the Rangers. They showed some things. A team that the Rangers, you and I were both very high on coming into the season. They make a shot for the wild card. But I do think it's going to be a two-team race between the Astros and the Mariners, and that's really about it.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
welcome back. In-game live game day here on the grid. Scott and Dave, hour number one of our hour-and-a-half extravaganza with the NBA game starting. So the boys went a little extra long with game time decisions, previewing the NBA final, game 6, which just tipped off. So we'll let that breathe a little bit. So let's turn our attention to some baseball. And we got our good buddy Rob Donaldson from UnderdogFantasy.com, professional sports bettor, UnderdogFantasy.com. What's going on, Rob? How are you tonight?
Hey, thank you for having me on, fellas. And hey, it's been a really good day. You know, when you have day baseball, you want to go well so your night's not ruined. And today I hit every single day baseball bet. So we're going into the night slate on a very high note.
So when you do that, Rob, do you press a little more or do you pull back a little bit more when you have the good day? Because I had guys in the book that they couldn't wait to either, bet more, try some new props, maybe go with home run props. They never really did that before when they bet it, or they were home for dinner and out of the book. They were like, yeah, I'm good. I can't match what I just did. Which one are you?
So it really depends on the day, right? Because if you're going into a Monday or a Thursday off of a hot day when you have a smaller slate, I tried to dial it back incredibly in terms of the volume, the bet sizing, the whole thing. But when you are going into a Friday, when you have all these new seasons or series rather starting and a lot of the top guys going, I kind of feel like you can at least play it more balanced. Maybe not as aggressive as the previous day if you were aggressive, but go out there and try your shot again.
Yeah. I generally go light or opposite, especially on a like for me, the classic is a Saturday college football day. If I hit the early games and I'm getting into those night games and I'm saying, man, am I really going to go like 8-2 or 8-1? I don't think so. I'm more likely going to go 5-5 and give it all back. So I try and go the other way. So that's what I do. Bunch of games before we get to the ones that have yet to start. A few games, a lot of doubleheaders. Rob, we were talking about it in the break before we came on the air. It's difficult with these doubleheaders. You don't know who's playing. You play one game, you sit the next. Bullpens are all screwed up from the night before. Catchers don't generally play. You got Pittsburgh and Detroit. I will say this: they're going for a series sweep by the Tigers with this. They're tied 4-4 after winning big earlier. Bottom of the ninth inning. But any thoughts on that? Yeah, I know that poor Dave. It gets deeper and deeper for him. But any of the games that are going on right now? Oh, this was a Skeens game. That's right. This was a Skeens game. Any thoughts on the 4 games that are underway now?
Yeah, well, when you're looking at one right now in the Baltimore Orioles, I don't know what the live line is sitting at, but that was one that I'm riding the money line on, going in right now. And with Charlie Morton on the bump, I get it. The high ERA, how we started the season, everybody wants to kind of go against the guy. But over the last 8 outings that he's had as a long reliever and a starter, he's only had really one bad outing, definitively bad outing in that mix. He's actually pitching really darn well right now, but nobody's really valuing him as a good pitcher because of how it started in terms of his season. I actually like the Orioles to get a money line, nice little price here in the back end of the Rays game. I just kind of feel like they're in a good year.
Yeah, that's a pretty good spot. They have been good in Morton's last 4 starts. I think they've won 3. Rob, why is the Astros line not like minus 180 tonight? I mean, last night was a gift with Framber. And then you look at it tonight, and I'm going, this has to be the Astros again, no?
I definitely see where you're coming from. I guess the one pushback would be that the A's lineup, as bad as the A's pitching has been, the bullpen and even a lot of these starters that are kind of were league average for a long stretch of the season so far have kind of tailed off, but that lineup is still crazy active, putting runs on the board. And it's almost like a do factor, quote unquote, that I think a lot of people buy into with baseball, where it's hard to pull off the sweep, right? It's hard for a guy to go over 50 like a Chris Davis back in the day. Eventually it's going to break through, and it's going to break through in bunches. And I feel like the A's lineup has been down for enough games in the series where eventually they're going to have a little bit of their night here.
Do you actually like them tonight, or just justifying the low line?
More so justifying the low line. I actually kind of like a full game over when you're looking. Yeah, no, I'm going to be completely honest.
Yeah,
I actually like both offenses to have a little bit of their own night. It's set at 10.5, which is very sizable, but I think it's sizable for a reason. So if you do want to take a flyer, maybe target that first 5 over or even that full game.
Dodgers Padres has been pretty electric all week in this series.
Mm-hmm.
This price is all Yamamoto. I mean, the Dodgers have won all the games, but it hasn't been easy. They've trailed in every one of them. When you see a number like this, what do you think? Side, total, prop, anything? Ohtani did another home run, something like that. Anything? What do you got?
Well, listen, Yamamoto, as good as he is, isn't Paul Skeens. He's not Tariq Skubal, and he shouldn't be priced like this against the Padres team that is more than just competent. They're a contender, right? And I get it. There's a lot of bats that are down in this lineup, but one of their hottest bats is a lefty who hits these types of pitchers really well in Gavin Sheets. And when you're looking at a plus 220, line, I get it. Bergert's a no name. Yamamoto is a big name, but Bergert's been playing really darn well in terms of giving the Padres quality outings. I think it's foolish not to take a shot at a 2-1 price here on the Padres for the full game money line. You can potentially tap into that Dodgers pen. And I know the Dodgers are a big brand, and when they're rolling, it feels like you're running in front of a freight train. But man, the Yankees felt like a freight train early on this season. How is that going right now? A lot of teams kind of go in and out, and that's just sort of the nature of baseball.
How about Ohtani, Rob? Only plus 148 to hit a home run. We were talking in the break about these home run props. You're getting like no value. That's crazy, right?
It's absolutely crazy because the home runs this year are being hit by the same players, and those lines are smashed. And when you're looking at guys with a high average, well, one, averages are up, home runs are down, and the odds in the home run market are completely not on the same level as they were in past years. You can't get a plus 550 line for a guy who's actually capable of hitting a home run anymore. And for that reason, I just feel like the whole entire home run market is almost like a don't even touch it unless you're betting one of these top premium guys.
Yeah.
10 seconds.
I was never a big home run just because of that. It's just like, 3-1 for a guy to hit a home run when he hits 20 home runs in 162 games. It's just doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't.
Okay.
So, Rob, great job. Check out all his picks, all the action, underdogfantasy.com. Great job, Rob. Before we get to it, thanks.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Have awoken. Maybe they are the best team out in the West because a rooting interest for me, Tom, always the Mariners. Hey, they're finally getting the hitting back, but now that's starting to slide.
We can make a case for the Rangers. They showed some things. A team that the Rangers, you and I were both very high on coming into the season. They make a shot for the wild card, but I do think it's going to be a two-team race between the Astros and the Mariners, and that's really about it.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Again, thanks to Rob Donaldson, UnderdogFantasy.com for all the plays, all the picks, and all the action that they have. NBA real quickly. Indiana now leading. Once down 10-2, now up 15-12 midway through the first quarter. We'll get back to that in a second. But time for our Black Cloud Play of the Day. All right, I like doing this. First off, last night we lost with Ohtani, who for the first time in the history of baseball for him, and he went 0 for 4 back-to-back games. Unfreaking believable. I mean, that really was the black cloud. I mean, he had not done that all stinking year. 4 at-bats in back-to-back games. Just you have days like that, I suppose. So scratch Ohtani from our hit list. Of course, tonight, he's going to go 4 for 4. But that said, I like looking for angles where the boys in Vegas don't know what they're doing, because 99 times out of 100, they do. But one of those situations is when they have a reliever turn into a starter. So they don't really know strikeout-wise, how many strikeouts is this dude going to get? So I know you gave us some numbers there that I wasn't aware of, but I'm going to head out to Sacramento. We're going to go Houston and the A's over Jacob Lopez, A's starting pitcher, 4.5 strikeouts. You get plus odds, plus 112 on FanDuel. Here's why. He was a reliever, a strikeout guy, turned starter. He's made 5 starts. He's 4-1 getting 5 strikeouts or more, including 3-0 at home. He almost got 5 strikeouts in an inning and 2/3 relief appearance earlier this year. I mean, he had 4 strikeouts in 2 2/3 innings against Texas, back-to-back games. So he has strikeouts. The only game he didn't is when he had nothing. He just got blasted by Toronto, couldn't get out of the second inning. I don't think that's going to happen tonight. Otherwise, 9, 5, 9, 8. This guy's not even close to 4.5, 5. So unless he just has an awful outing, I know you gave some good numbers there, Dave, on Houston against lefties, which he is, but man, I'm thinking he's going to get 5 strikeouts. Astros kind of middle of the pack strikeout team, not really great, not really bad. So I'm going to side towards he gets 5 strikeouts. Not a lot to choose from tonight, but I do like that play just because of those, that 9, 9, 8. And 5 in 4 of his 5 starts.
I mean, here's a good stat that I found for you. The best start of his career, Jacob Lopez defeated the Royals in Kansas City last Sunday, tossing 6 scoreless while matching a career high with 9 strikeouts. Only Grant Holmes has a higher K per 9 innings than Lopez in the month of June out of the 150 pitchers who have thrown at least 10 innings this month. So you might be on to something. We just got to get him through the order twice, right? That's the reason he doesn't get this is because he's knocked out of the game in 3 2/3, something like that.
Right. Because he averages over a strikeout an inning. 9 strikeouts in 6 innings, 5 strikeouts in 4, 9 in 4 1/3, 8 in 7 innings. Even his relief appearances, as I was telling you, 4 in 2 2/3, 4 in an inning and a third. I mean, so... And they're giving us odds. That's what I mean. Like, what do you do with a guy like that if you're making a line? I mean, the guy started 5 games this year. I'm surprised it's not a little bit higher though. But I guess people think they would bet the under if it was 5.5, because most guys are 4.5, 5.5s, unless you're like Chris Sale or something like that. So I guess they're afraid to go to 5.5.
5.5 would probably be the number with juice to the under if you thought the A's were going to hang around this game. 4.5 with juice to the over, or flat is probably the number if you think Houston's going to win the game. If they're going to knock him out early. So two different schools of thought, but this looks good. Did the black cloud hit last night? I can't remember.
No, that was the Ohtani. The dopey Ohtani.
Oh yeah. Okay, all right, never mind.
Yeah,
he'll probably hit a home run tonight, multiple bases.
I know.
All of it tonight.
We've had him for 3 straight nights, with stolen bases, home runs, 2 bases, nothing but over. We're bailing, nothing with the Dodger game tonight, and watch, he goes, like I said, 3 for 4 with a couple of home runs, stolen base.
No question.
I'm sure.
Oh, easy.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, Indiana now up 24-17. They've outscored the Thunder 22-7. They were down 10-2 4 minutes into this game. They had 2 stinking points in the first couple of minutes. And it's been nothing but Pacers. And now the over-under is up to 226.5. I did like the over, so first quarter, looking pretty good. All right, hour number 2 coming up next.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Have awoken. Maybe they are the best team out in the West because a rooting interest for me, Tom, always the Mariners. Hey, they're finally getting the hitting back, but now that's starting to slide.
We can make the case for the Rangers. They shore up some things. A team that the Rangers, you and I were both very high on coming into the season. They make a shot for the wild card, but I do think it's going to be a two-team race between the Astros and the Mariners, and that's really about it.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back. It is In-Game Live Game Day, hour number 2 of our hour and a half extravaganza tonight as we keep an eye on the WNBA, it is WNBA. I actually got a game tonight, and NBA Game 6 finals, in which the Pacers, 3.5 minutes left, Dave, lead at 24-17. Good little start overall for Indiana. It's down to Pick'em. If you think, you didn't want to, you talked about it, right, in hour number 1. If you didn't want to lay the 6.5, now's the time you hop in, and I would. I do think ultimately OKC wins, I think. And now you got them at even in a 7-point game in the first quarter. Who cares? This is the bettor's best dream. This is it. Let the team you really think is going to win fall behind early. No big deal. You knew Indiana was going to come out flying, right? All the emotion and everything. Final game. I didn't think they were going to roll over. And now you grab OKC. Unless you think there's going to be a Game 7. What do you think?
Going into tonight, not knowing what to expect from Halliburton for me. Like, I know what I'm getting with OKC. Then the unknown is the great thing in life when we don't know it. In the book, it's especially what we're always looking at on the book side of the counter. What are we not seeing? What do we not know? I don't know how much Halliburton's going to be able to play and how much of an impact he's going to have. So my thought is I'm going to lean toward OKC. Well, what I'm seeing so far, they are 5 of 11 from 3 in the first half, or the first quarter. 8 of 18, which isn't even 50%, but the 5 of 11 from 3, they're getting pretty good looks. I think I would temper my number. Like, it's even money right now to take OKC on the money line. You can take 1.5. odds makers are thinking like me right now, going, "Whoa, Indiana looks a lot better than we thought. Holy cow!" Make them a favorite right now and see if anybody will lay it before OKC gets too far down. So, I mean, we'll see. But this first quarter thing, the home team's been good. OKC's won, I think, 4 of the 5 games in the first quarter. I don't know. They're not winning this one. They're going to be trailing after 1.
Yeah. And oh, by the way, Halliburton does have 4 points. I figured he would play, right? There was no way he was not playing. Now, how healthy he is and what he can do, but the NBA Finals, life on the line, facing eliminate. There's no way. The guy played 30-plus minutes in Game 5. I know things can stiffen up and everything else, but just call up Alex Rodriguez, go get a couple of needles, and get me ready to play, coach. I'm sure. So I figured he would play. Just how effective he would be. I did not count. I must say, I gave out the under. I did a little hunch play that I like to do when guys like Jalen Williams and TJ McConnell, and now Williams is better, but when they go like really outside their lane, we'll say, with 40 points, I like to play his under the next day or next game. It was 23.5, but to his credit, the dude's got 7 points already, and we're still in the first quarter. I still like the under, but he's not, falling into that trap. He's had 2 monster games this postseason, and both times he went well under the number the next game. I thought that would happen again, but at this rate, he's on a pretty good pace to get us over 23.5.
In between all that, while that's going on, the Mets gave up the lead. They trail 3-1 to the Braves. Still 1-1 in Baltimore and Tampa. The Pirates didn't lose to the Tigers. Instead, the skies opened up. Massive rain. 4-4 in the 9th, and they're rolling the tarp out. So bad enough they lost the first game to Scoobel, got smoked. Skeen started the second game, pitched great, and the bullpen gave up the runs. And it's 4-4 in a rain delay. Just not a good season, man. Been tough for the Pirates.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Tell you what, they will wait forever for that game, right? I mean, that's the only time Pittsburgh's got to be in Detroit. So bottom of the ninth, it's not even like someone's got a lead. I mean, you're looking at extra innings, but still, they'll wait. Let's just double check and see both those teams tomorrow. Let's see if they're playing tomorrow, because if that's the case, then they're playing against Pirates are at home against the Rangers. Tigers got to fly down to Tampa. I would bet the Devil Dogs right now at Pick'em -105. You don't know how long they're going to be waiting. Like I said, right? They'll wait forever, knowing that this is the only trip in. Not that Pittsburgh and Detroit are that far, but still, there's no way they want to, suspend this game, right?
Right.
How much do the boys in Vegas take into account like that? Like right now, it's -115 Detroit's favorite over Tampa Bay -105. If they're there until 11 o'clock, whatever, probably even later than that. It's 9 o'clock now, Scott. If they're there until 1 o'clock in the morning, would they change that and say, all right, you know what, this is too hard for Detroit. They're going to be pooped when they come into town, and make Tampa Bay a favorite?
Yeah, we would slide that line all the time in situations like that. Yeah, no, there's no question, because I know guys like you were looking at that and going to bet it. You have to move it, at least to start on the overnight line, or start it first thing in the morning. There's times that guys didn't get in the morning, try to see what time did the plane get in, what time did they even leave, who knows. So yeah, 100% that would be a factor. Now, will that result in the win or loss of the bet? I don't know, but that's how the line's made for sure.
All right. Mets they've lost 5 in a row.
Yep.
They've given up the lead. They were leading 1-0. So they now trail 3-1, bottom 6. Let's just say, Denny, close your ears. He can't hear us anyway. They lose. They have a 3-game series at Philadelphia. Then they return home for a 4-game set against these same Atlanta Braves. How many wins do you think they're going to get over the next 7 days or 7 games?
Friday they go against Wheeler, so they're not going to win that game.
Nope.
Saturday they go against
The rookie
Let's
there,
double
Abel.
check. Abel. They're not winning that game.
Nope.
Sunday. Can we get him there? Sunday Night Baseball? Yeah, Peterson against Luzardo. Yep. They'll win Sunday.
Right.
As far as the Braves, I don't have the pitching matchups yet, so I don't know. Probably take, what, 1, maybe 2 or 3 from Atlanta? Because they got to see Sale, I think, again.
Sale's going to be there, yeah. They got
Right.
Blackburn against Schwellenbach game 1. Holmes versus Sale game 2. Undecided versus Strider. And Canning versus. See, this Dave, like, this is why the Mets, this is what's wrong with the Mets, right? You need a big-time guy to stop these bad streaks. Every team, even the Red Sox will have a bad streak, right? So you need that Chris Sale to step in and say, all right, go get us a win. You need the Skeens, or you need the Scoobles, or pick a real, like, they don't have that. When you look at the roster of who's pitching for the Mets, I mean, who's stepping up? You're counting on Canning or Holmes, or and Peterson's been pretty good, but where's the the Noah Syndergaard? Where's the Jacob deGrom? Where's the even Justin Verlander? They don't have it. Saying
You're besmirching the Mets starting rotation. Their starting rotation leads Major League Baseball in ERA on the season. They have a 2.99 ERA on the season. Now,
how many
they haven't
guys
been
would you
good
want
recently.
from that rotation?
I'm just telling you, they lead baseball. They lead baseball.
Don't let facts get in the way of a good rant, as we always say. All right, that starting rotation stinks. Oh boy, we're coming up with Adam Crawford with us next.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
Rearranging that rhythm. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
18.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Dave, hour number 2 of our 2-hour extravaganza. Got a couple of baseball games going on. We got 2 more that'll start at the top of the hour, 10 o'clock. Dave and I will break those down. We got our SGPs coming up in about 5-10 minutes or so. In the meantime, it's NBA Game 6 right now. Just started the second quarter. Indiana did lead by 3, 28-25. So if you had a first quarter bet, probably went under, I would think, 53 points. But certainly Indiana would have been a slight underdog, so they covered, winning it outright. So it's 30-27 Pacers. OKC is laying 2.5, and then the over-under is down to 218.5. So it as high as 226.5 before. So let's talk a little NBA with our good buddy SportsGrid Radio, SportsGrid TV host. You see it here all the time right here on the grid, Adam Kaufman. What's going on, Adam? Pacers or Thunder tonight for you?
Thunder with every fiber of my being, every bone in my body. There is not a part of me, and I know what we're looking at right now, and the fact that the Pacers early second quarter are ahead by a few points. But no, I was on Game Time Decisions earlier with Kev. There is no part of me that believes the Pacers are going to win this game, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that we're seeing a far from full strength Tyrese Halliburton. Now, that said, he's looked a little bit better in this game, not shooting the ball, but just in terms of the way he's moving around and facilitating and getting passes off and running the offense through him and all of that than I would have anticipated. Even still, I think the Thunder are just too much, too healthy, too deep to fall in this game. There's, I would have no problem betting on the Thunder in a Game 7, but I don't think we're going to get there.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting to a Game 7 either. So the pace of the game so far, I don't want to say it's favoring Indiana, but they're okay playing this way. It feels like they're kind of pushing. How does the Thunder kind of change that either this quarter or the second half?
Well, avoid scoring droughts, right? And, we saw them come alive toward the end of the opening quarter when SGA finally kind of woke up and got hot, and he's already almost at 10 points now after a very slow and inefficient start for him. And I don't know if that was just sort of easing his way into the game, being more of a, deferential kind of playmaker and letting Jalen Williams try and continue his hot streak. He got off to a fast start, has 7-8 points so far here in this one. But I think the Thunder just need to play Thunder basketball, which is, again, run deep, get everybody involved. Don't be afraid of letting your role players get hot, whether that's, Alex Caruso in particular, one of the bigs, whomever it may wind up being. It not everything, while it has to go through Williams and SGA, not all the offense has to end on those two guys as well. Beyond that, really the biggest issue that Oklahoma City had in the opening quarter, in only trailing by a few points, was turning over the basketball and allowing the Pacers to capitalize in transition. Fast breaks a lot of the time off those turnovers. We see it all the time, guys. This is not unique to either of these two teams or unique to sport in general. It doesn't have to be basketball. You get into these situations, stay out of your own way. Don't be your own worst enemy. If the Thunder can just play good, strong, sound basketball and, avoid the mental mistakes, they'll be fine. They'll win this game going away. They'll cover the number, all of that. But as long as the Pacers stay frisky and, involved and like you said, I do think this pace that we are seeing so far favors Indiana. Indiana's a good defensive team. Oklahoma City is an elite defensive team. It's not shown tonight. It's not shown at many points in this series. And if it doesn't show tonight, of course that favors Indiana. But if the Thunder can crack down and, again, do what they do far more often than not and limit the Pacers offensively, then that's just Indiana's not going to be able to keep up.
What were the props that you liked? Player points or rebounds or anything? And how's it going? And what do you like for this point going on?
Well, we can see how it's going. I was advocating the over on PRA for Pascal Siakam, knowing just, again, the concerns about Halliburton and what that was going to look like. Looks like he's off to he's got
Decent
9,
start.
7 points, 2 rebounds. So it's a good start out of him. He's taken a couple of shots, but more than that, he's been aggressive, getting himself to the free throw line. So, we were looking for basically 30 plus for him. So like you said, off to a good number. I think Nembhard might already be there. I was on alts for Nembhard, figuring that he and Halliburton at this stage, and this is not me saying this is true of Halliburton all the time, but we got flashes of this in the postseason last year when Halliburton went down. When Halliburton is about as healthy as he is at the moment, and Nembhard's given an opportunity, those two dudes are basically interchangeable. And you knew that less Halliburton was going to mean more Nembhard minutes. And so he's already at 8 points on 3 of 3 shooting. He's hit a couple of 3-pointers, hit them back-to-back there late in that opening quarter. I laddered him up to, 15 points, 20 points at a good plus money number, figuring that he's going to be pretty involved here in this one. For Jalen Williams, I went points plus assists, and he is at, he actually doesn't have any dimes yet, but he's at 9 points. So just because of the points, he's off to a good start there. So, things are trending. And look, I will always credit one Scott Wetzel for turning me onto this. I'm not sure I knew this bet existed before he mentioned it in the last series, and I've fallen in love with it. I once again played the 20 points per team per quarter, which, we got through with ease in the opening quarter, 28-25 here in this one. We're 6-4 right now in favor of OKC. But look, I just think what is fascinating about that number, guys, is, we have seen, we went into the NBA Finals expecting this was going to be a really high-scoring, just high-octane series. And as the number has crept down throughout, that bet has had a lot of movement because, again, it's the same goal. So you're just looking at the juice at that point in time. And earlier on, when the series opened, that was like minus 190, minus 200 on that bet. Here today, game 6, minus 135. It has fallen drastically because the offense is so unreliable here in this series. So I love that bet. I've been leaning into it.
Dodgers Padres, you got 10 seconds. Any side total in that game tonight? Been a fun series.
Yeah, I mean the juice stinks, obviously. So I did a Dodgers first 5 going for Yamamoto there on the money line, pairing that up with Schoolball and the Tigers earlier today. So 1/2 is in. It's up to Yamamoto now.
Cool. Great job, Adam, as always. We'll do it again soon. Thanks.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Maybe they are the best team out in the West because a rooting interest for me, Tom, always the Mariners. Hey, they're finally getting the hitting back, but now that's starting to slide.
We can make the case for the Rangers. They shore up some things. A team that the Rangers, you and I were both very high on coming into the season. They make a shot for the wild card. But I do think it's going to be a 2-team race between the Astros and the Mariners, and that's really about it.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Dave, hour number 2. Thanks again, Adam Kaufman, joining us, as he does from time to time right here on the grid. Let's check it out, the NBA. We got to get our SGP in here. We'll either do it here or next segment, but a funny thing. First off, let me update the game as far as the NBA is concerned. They're in the second quarter, 39-33, Indiana leading it back down to Pick'em. I must say, as a 6.5-point favorite heading into this game, the boys have not been that reluctant to drop this all the way down to Pick'em. I mean, I would think a 6.5-point favorite down 6 would still be, 2.5 or even 3-point favorite, but not the case, David. And over-under is 217.5.
No way. Yeah, I'm watching it going, waiting for that run where OKC gets it back even and or a couple-point lead. Indiana keeps answering. Now, whether it's TJ McConnell, who's leading the team right now in points, along with Obi Toppin and Andrew Nebhart. They are leading the team in points, 8, 8, and 8. And they're shooting really well. I mean, Nebhart's 3 of 3. McConnell's 4 of 5. So you have to be very leery of, wow, this might be one of those nights, right? Indiana's going to not hang around. They may actually lead this game for a majority of the game.
I was going to say, how long, you think OKC is winning? I think they're winning. How long before you say, okay, Indiana's going to win? Fourth quarter. We saw them blow a 7-point fourth quarter lead in game 4. So
correct. About just past the halfway mark of the third quarter is when I'd start to acknowledge it. Like it could be very real. And then the first 3 to 4 minutes of the fourth quarter, that's when you have to get really aggressive with the pricing. Like when you're doing the game, you have to go, okay, look, we got to go get the other side. We got to go get that other money because they are going to lose now. So, yeah, my lines were halfway through the third and then 3 minutes into the fourth. And then we could kind of play it out from there. How about you? If they're leading at halftime, are you ready to say, all right, look, Indiana can win?
I mean, I think they can win anyway, but will they win? They would have to be up 10 with about 5 minutes left. Otherwise, if it's still in that 3 to 7 point range, I'm still thinking OKC's going to pull it out. But I'm an Indiana guy. So, and I didn't think they would play well. I thought they would be gassed and not get blown out by any stretch. But I just thought they were just emotionally shot. It's been a long series. They've had so many ups and downs, so many dramatic comeback wins. Right, 5 wins they had when trailing by 15 points or more. I just thought, you know what, they're ready for the season to be over with. So I'm impressed already with what they've been able to do. But I would think somewhere with 5 minutes left, up 8, then it'd be like, okay, now OKC's in a lot of trouble because OKC, right, you could screw around for 3 quarters. But fourth quarter, all right, let's play ball. So if you could survive the first 6 minutes of let's take serious playing ball from OKC, then you got to give Indiana the full credit. So
my book here just flipped Indiana to a 2.5 point favorite.
Wow.
Minus 135 on the money line. Yep.
Now, am I wrong? Are they not quick to flip a 6.5 point pregame favorite into an underdog down 8 only in the second quarter?
Yep. Very aggressive. Listen, this might be the last basketball game you got until fall. So,
you know what it is?
You might.
I bet, Dave, I bet it was, the line was 6.5 because they weren't sure about Halliburton. And now they're seeing Halliburton play well. So they're like, this is not a normal 6 point. This should have been maybe a 4 point favorite, 4.5.
Back to what it was. The line was 4 before we knew Halliburton maybe not playing. 4.5. So that's back where it is. That's where you're moving it off of that number. It closed 5.5 in a lot of places today. So makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Halliburton, or not Halliburton, excuse me. Gilchrist Alexander, 11 points, right? And I was thinking about this, he really, I don't remember those Kentucky teams being that good. Like, how did they not win a champ? All the great players, he wasn't on a great team, but Kevin Knox is an NBA player. PJ Washington, NBA player. Hamidou Diallo, wasn't he? He had a cup of coffee in the NBA. He might be on some roster somewhere. But yeah, they not only didn't they win a championship in Kentucky, they were 26-11. SGP coming up next.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Have awoken. Maybe they are the best team out in the West because a rooting interest for me, Tom, always the Mariners. Hey, they're finally getting the hitting back, but now that's starting to slide.
We can make the case for the Rangers. They shore up some things. A team that the Rangers, you and I were both very high on coming into the season. They make a shot for the wild card. But I do think it's going to be a two-team race between the Astros and the Mariners, and that's really about it.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. It is in-game live game day here on the grid. Hour number 2. Put the baskets and baseball aside for a sec. Time for our SGP same game parlay. I normally do this first hour, but we had time. We're going to do it the second hour since our first hour was kind of abbreviated there a little bit with the NBA postseason. So, got 2 baseball games. Let's pick one. I'm done with the Dodgers. They're as good as dead to me. So, let's use the other game, Dave. Astros versus the A's in Sacramento. It's got sucker written all over it. It does, but that's okay. I'll bite. Give me the Astros minus 136. Might be up to 140 or so. That's where we'll start. We'll go over 5.5 Astros team total. Kind of goes contradictory to my Lopez over 4.5 strikeouts, but he can get that in 2-3 innings and still get knocked out of the game in 5. So over 5.5 Astros team total. I'll go with Jeremy Pena to get a hit and an RBI for the Astros. He's their main guy, or one of their main guys. And then Christian Walker, an RBI as well. I'm expecting 6-7 runs, nice 7-3, 7-2 Houston win. So Pesa 6-1. I would have liked a little bit more on that one, to tell you the truth. Every once in a while, they surprise me with a big number. This is a surprisingly low number. You only really got one big favorite in there, the Pena minus 350 on the base hit. But you're getting plus 155 on an RBI. You're getting plus 135 on a Walker RBI. The Astros are the 2-1 favorite. I'm not sure how this is only 6-1, but it is what it is. Astros over Astros team total. Pena the hit in the RBI, and then Walker an RBI as well, 6-1.
This looks really good. I have a couple numbers here for you. Houston has bludgeoned its opponents recently. The Astros have won 7 of 8, batting .318 and slashing .379, averaging 6.8 runs per game over that span. They're looking to post double-digit runs in 3 straight games for the 4th time in club history. So all of those things working for you. That's good. And, I mean, Pena's been amazing. Him and the shortstop for the A's are going to probably be the All-Star Game shortstops in Atlanta next month. I mean, they're 1 and 2 in the majors in batting average right now. So 371 and 356 for Pena. Yeah. So these things are this looks pretty good. Scott, I don't want to put the black cloud on you or same game parlay jinx on it, but I'm just saying, yeah, that looks good.
All right, let's see if we can cash one of these since we haven't done too well with our black clouds this week. Or
Look
we're
at
off week.
Indiana
Still 20 games. What do they do now?
I don't know. It's
45,
48-35. Yeah, they're up 13 while we were giving out the game parlay. Unbelievable. Wow.
You get 6.5 on OKC, grab them plus 190. Now
when is Game 7?
FanDuel.
I didn't even consider there would be a Game 7. When would Game 7 be played?
Sunday night. Another 3 days off. Ugh. You know, when they start like analyzing the ratings and everyone's going to cry about how the ratings stink for the NBA Finals, you know, I said this on the podcast. You can't, Dave, say, you know, the season's too long. There's too many breaks. Who's going out of their way to watch Doris Burke and Richard Jefferson, for goodness sakes? I mean, all the great NBA players. We got Doris Burke and Richard Jefferson on a broadcast. I mean, there's like so many things we've complained about, and then be surprised that the ratings suck. You know, I mean, yes, you're right about those 3, 4, 5 things that we've talked about. That's, you know, people are tuned out. I'm tuned out, and I love the NBA. But, I mean, if your team didn't make the postseason, or even if it did, is the Laker fan really caring about the NBA? The Celtic fan care about this? This is such an afterthought. It's just like, get it done with, please. Get it out of my face. Tired of it. And we got to wait another 3 days if we get a Game 7. That's why the ratings stink. It's not because it's OKC. It's way too spaced out.
Yeah, it's way too spaced out. And I mean, we're getting into the end of June. There's nobody left in school. I mean, we're people are going on vacations and doing stuff. Summer plans have begun, different things. You're absolutely right. So I don't know, but I'm starting to strongly consider that there will be a Game 7.
Game 7.
And I'm thinking, I'm thinking that, like, what would I make the number? Like, this is pretty impressive. What so far?
Yeah.
And OKC's been almost double digits. I mean, they were double digits one game, 9.5 another game. Are we going to put up a 9.5 for a Game 7?
You can't do that, right? I'll tell you Game 7 trends. I actually happen to have them if I can find them here real quickly.
Okay.
Yeah. Game 7 trends since 2002-3. Home team 39-13 straight up. 32-20 against the spread.
At least 9.5.
Yeah. Now that's Game 7s in all the postseason, not the finals. So just that's encompasses all the postseason.
I'm using the 9.5.
Yeah. The team that lost Game 6, which obviously would be OKC, 20-13 against the spread in Game 7, which isn't that, you know, it definitely is. Last 24 Game 7s average only 199 points.
Oh,
7
under.
overtime. Yeah, 29-23 under last 52. So, yeah, it points to OKC.
I don't know. If anybody's watching this show and you want to tweet at us, do it. Tag me at SportsBK. Tag Scott at Opposite Picks, and tag SportsGrid at SportsGrid or at SportsGrid TV. Let us know what your line would be for Game 7 as of right now. If we get a Game 7, OKC loses to Indiana here in Game 6. I'll say it's at least 9, if not 9.5. I would hesitate to use 10. I think I'd put up 9 and see what if we can get them to lay it. Maybe need the dog to cover, but the favorite to win, something like that. I don't know. The longer this goes, I mean, like Indiana's going to be leading at halftime, so we got to that checkpoint, right? 4 minutes left. If they're not leading at halftime, we won't have to worry about Game 7, right?
Yeah. At the beginning of the series, Dave, we did a why was Indiana going to win and why is OKC going to win, right? We got a second here. Let's relook at that. Why Indiana was going to win. OKC was down 2-1 to Denver. And oddly enough, they were down 2-1 to Indiana, right? Indiana's going to win because they don't lose back-to-back games. 28-12 off a loss this season. Now, they did lose back-to-back games, but it goes into, are they going to lose 3 in a row, which is what they would have to do if they were losing. Like, no, you can't kill them, we said. Heading into this series, down 15, they were 4-3. They won a game this series, down 15. Game 1. Last team to beat OKC at OKC was Indiana. For the Eastern Conference anyway, was Indiana last year, and they won a game at Indiana. So I mean, that's why we put those things out there. It's all playing into. They did everything that was realistically needed to win this series heading into a Game 7. Remarkable. Yep. And we said they had a better record, right? They were 19-5 last 24 games, whereas OKC was only 18-6. Not that big a deal, but we did that to show they're playing just as good as OKC, if not better.
Right. Yeah, this may end up being one of the biggest misses in a while as far as the series line. If it gets to a Game 7. 7-1, 9-1 was no way the right number for a 7-game series. There's just no way. It was just a miss. Now, again, we're kind of putting the cart before the horse by saying that Indiana's going to win this game. But the books will get away with it if OKC wins. If Indiana wins, this is going to leave a mark. There are some big prices on the Pacers.
Big. Up 14, 51, 37. Get 7.5 now. Cam Stewart joins us next.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Have awoken. Maybe they are the best team out in the West because a rooting interest for me, Tom, always the Mariners. Hey, they're finally getting the hitting back, but now that's starting to slide.
We can make a case for the Rangers. They shore up some things. A team that the Rangers, you and I were both very high on coming into the season. They make a shot for the wild card. But I do think it's going to be a two-team race between the Astros and the Mariners, and that's really without a doubt.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Okay, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid, watching a blowout. If I told you at the beginning of the show that a team would be leading by 16 with a minute and a half left to go in the second quarter, I think a majority of the folks would say, all right, OKC's blowing them out. But no, it's the other way. Indiana 60 now to 42.
Keep it coming.
Wow, 9.5-point favorites. Our good buddy Cam Stewart sitting on a nice fat Indiana ticket tonight. Very nice, Cam.
Hey,
I won't
Scott.
congratulate you just yet, but
No,
nice
no,
to
don't.
that way.
No Barry Horowitz. No good pick. Nah, good start. It's, you know what? I will accept first quarter and half wagering though, because that's going to be there.
Okay.
Now we got to get there with the game. Gabe and I talked about this, and I think Dave was spot on. You can't. Some offshores were offering 12-1. See, the Pacers win this game. You got 12-1.
Yeah.
You can do anything you want in the other game, right, Dave? Like, I know Oklahoma City will be favored, but that's a number where you can sit back and go, this is great. I got both sides. Like, Dave, what do you make that number at? I go plus 650, plus 700? Like, instead of 9 or that, what would you make it? 6-1? What would you do?
Randall's got a line.
For a game? For game
no, like
7?
what should the Pacers price been when I get 12-1 before this game? The line should have been about anywhere between 620 and 7, correct? Not 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's what I'm saying.
I would argue you could have the Thunder as a minus 550 favorite. Like I wouldn't have made them 6. I would have laid them 6. So you were taking back probably plus 400 or plus 450.
That's what you would have done. I even think that might be a little bit light, but that's fair. Like offering Indiana at 12, what are you laying down with Oklahoma City then? Minus 2,000?
17?
Because there's a gap between it. The higher you go up, the more discrepancy is between favorite and dog. That's nuts.
Yeah, probably.
For a game, like who does that? You can't even put a parlay with that stuff. That's like you got to do like a 10-gamer, like a lottery parlay at minus.
What do you think the line is, Cam, for game 7? We were talking
if we get there, and I'm praying we do, I'll be hedging out. I think Oklahoma City will be favored by 8.5.
Okay.
Or 9.
Okay.
What do you think, Wetzel?
Well, I will tell you right now, FanDuel offers a series bet. So Oklahoma City right now, you can bet them to win the series minus 420.
Well, that's
it's creeping lower
whole,
and lower.
Yes, that's my whole
as this
point.
game goes on. Yeah.
Yes, and what's it in Indiana was you're getting 12-1 before this game. If they win, you're set. You're just betting on like a crazy money line, and Indiana plays good at home. They're a totally different team when they go. And Oklahoma City, you guys know that too. They're like Jekyll and Hyde. Away from home, they could be beaten. At home, they're almost indestructible. So it's like Dave, you said it. I haven't seen the books miss by a lot. That's a heavy miss, in my opinion. Like, that's just offering that kind of number is ridiculous, in my opinion. But hey, we'll take it. Like, that's the whole thing. They usually don't make mistakes. And, Gabe and I talk about it. Always respect the bookmaker, right? Like, you know what I mean? It's one of those things. But this is nuts.
They made a mistake. They made a mistake with Sam Bennett, too, in hockey. There's no way in the world that dude should have been 33-1. He had 10 goals. The next Florida Panther only had 6, and you're giving me a 33-1 ticket on a very good player? That line was so stupid.
You're right. And no, great point by you, Scott, because Edmonton, you know what's going to happen. McDavid, Draisaitl. McDavid, those are your two guys. Get everybody else out unless somebody goes nuts. But you know Sam Bennett, even though Florida's deeper, is the best player on their team. He's been great in every single series. So other than Sam Bennett, you have Marchand and Bobrovsky. So in Florida, you have probably 3 guys, and Barkov got it before. So, yeah, you can't be posting. That's such a good point by you. It's like, what are these guys doing? Like, he is their best player. Man, you're right, Scott. So, hey, once in a while, these guys are getting it wrong and just posting stuff, and it's up to us who've been doing this a very long time to attack. You're right. That like Sam Bennett should be like, if McDavid and Draisaitl, McDavid was the favorite. If Draisaitl before the last, he was 9-1. Bennett should be like, what should Bennett be? If you thought Edmonton was going to win, 11-1. If you thought Florida was going to win, like 7. That's what it should have been. Right. But anyway, that's my opinion. The golf, Scotty Scheffler, guys.
Listen, I got to ask you about the golf because it looked like Scheffler, he birdied the first hole and became a minus money favorite to win a tournament. And then he went and shot under. I mean, it was incredible. What do you do going forward? Is it done? Is he going to win it?
I wouldn't bet against him, Dave. As I told you, plan B, without Scheffler betting, I give you bets with Scheffler on the show. I have another account without Scheffler, and I make other bets. Like, I don't bet as many guys, but the guys I like say, my favorite this week was Keegan Bradley. Shout out to Cardano. St. John's. He went to St. John's. So I have Keegan Bradley to win and first round leader. I have him 45-1. He's in third. He's like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So without Scheffler, I'm in second place with this guy right now, and I don't have to worry about Scheffler beating me. He's not getting 45-1, but he's getting 20-something. Like, it's one of those things. Scheffler's that good. I almost want him eliminated from tournaments other than majors where the live guys are in. It's that simple, Dave. Like, now he's minus 140 with one round. He's got 2 shot lead. Minus 140. Can you believe this? Yep.
No. What would a Scheffler-McIlroy final round pairing do on Sunday?
Oh, yeah, they have that. Like horse racing, the exacta final round pairing.
Do they really?
You know what?
Cool.
I got to be honest. Yeah, no, it's insane. You can do anything, Scott. Offshores they're crazy. For golf, I'm on one book. They have so many things, but I would say, well, Rory still, like, asking 2 guys in a field to do that is still an accomplishment. What do you think? What's your number? I'm going to say,
he's in second place. Well, 2 shots back.
I would say I'm going to go check this up. I'm going to say anywhere from 10 to 12-1. I was going to say 12.
15, yeah, 10,
yeah,
10
15.
15.
No, if you can find 15, I think that's fair. Because remember, there's still like Morikawa, Wyndham Clark. Like, there's a million other good guys, and you need Rory and him to stay consistently ahead of the field and to finish 1-2. Man, these are rubbing industry conversation tonight. Like, it could happen, but Scott, I got to believe you. Like, both of those guys going 1 and 2. It's going to be difficult. You know what I mean? There's so many other guys, right? And I got to be honest with you, I trust Scheffler a hell of a lot more than I do with Rory. But I'll give Rory credit. He came out with a good round, and I wasn't sure how he was going to play. He's like been dodging the media. He's been acting kind of weird. But I guess the thing about Rory is once he finds it early, he'll usually do well. If he has any trouble in round 2, this round, it could go south. That's what I'm talking about. But good conversation, guys. I need that Pacers at 12-1. Can we get a game 7? Oh, please.
One talk, top of the hour.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Astros right now have awoken. Maybe they are the best team out in the West because a rooting interest for me, Tom, always the Mariners. Hey, they're finally getting the hitting back, but now that's starting to slide.
We can make the case for the Rangers. They shore up some things. A team that the Rangers, you and I were both very high on coming into the season. They make a shot for the wild card. But I do think it's going to be a 2-team race between the Astros and the Mariners, and that's really about it.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Dave closing things out. Thanks to Cam Stewart, who takes over along with Gabe Morency at the top of the hour. No doubt talking more. They got some CFL plays for you, so you definitely want to tune in for that. And then more golf and obviously the NBA and the baseball stuff. So a couple of quickies here, Dave. So first up, Indiana, they're at the half. They're leading by 22 now, 64-42. I think that's the biggest lead, if not pretty close to it. 13.5-point favored. 215.5. More proof people are listening and watching us, which is a beautiful thing. OKC, which was down about 15-16 to win the series, was minus 420. Now they're down 22, which is obviously more, and we're further along at halftime, and yet they're minus 450. So I got a feeling a whole bunch of people bet OKC at minus 430, thinking that the line was good. What would equate to a 9-point line, money line? Would that be 4-1? I'm trying to remember what these games were.
450, around 450.
Right.
That's what it is.
We're
Yeah.
assuming OKC's losing. So that's built in. They're losing tonight.
Without a doubt, yeah. We got a bunch of people watching and tweeting at us. I want to shout them out here real quick. Chaz, the FanDuel DraftKings guy, is OKC minus 8.5 for Game 7. Eron Sean has OKC minus 7.5 for Game 7, calling the Pacer squad for real. O's Picks and Parlays has Game 7 OKC minus 6.5. I mean, it's all over the board as of right now. Like, this is one of those situations where I don't want to say this would be one of the biggest comebacks in a deciding game if OKC comes back and does it and, you know, the Pacers let them back in 22 points. It's been done before. We've seen it in the playoffs. But if the Pacers win by 8-10, it's still coming Thunder minus 8.5. That's the number. I think that's the number. Yeah.
Yeah. I think 9.5, a little too much. Forget 10. 7.5, I think people would pounce. You know, it's funny. You know, they're on the verge of going to a 7th game, and yet Indiana next season is not the top choice, not the second choice, not the third, not the fourth, not the fifth. Well, I shouldn't say that. They're actually tied for fourth with Minnesota, Houston, and Indiana, 13-1. But there's just no respect for this team. I mean, it's just amazing.
Even right now.
The Knicks, Cleveland, they demolished Cleveland. They beat the Knicks, and those teams are ahead of them. Minnesota's tied in Houston. I would much rather have a ticket on Indiana next year, especially with the Celtics, you know, with all the issues health-wise. And that's the other thing. I mean, it's like, it is amazing. So, yeah, I'm really surprised. I didn't think, OKC would lay down like this. That the only good thing about, having 3 days off in between games is that there won't be any calling the dogs. Like, I would not be afraid of betting an SGA over. He's got 13 points. I'm thinking he's going to come out flying. You know, like I said, no reason to rest him. It's not like they're playing tomorrow or even the day after. They got plenty of, it's your show, boys. His number's 29.5. He's got 15 points. I thought it was 13, but he's got 15 points. I'd be very surprised if he didn't try and put this team on his shoulder and go over that 29.5.
OKC's 1 of 11 from 3. And don't forget, they'll be 1-9 on the road in the playoffs if they don't cover this game. ATS. Yeah. I mean, how can this keep happening? And how could you keep falling for OKC minus the points before this game? I feel like I really thought OKC money line was the play. I thought they were going to win. I'm not convinced. My little one, she's 11. She just told me during the break, the Thunder are cooked, Daddy. She said the Thunder are cooked. We're having Game 7. That's what she said. Just came in and told me. Thunder are cooked. Bye.
I believe it. She's right. She's a smart gal.
Kids know everything.
I didn't. It's amazing that this is the fault, and I'm happy they don't. But this is the fault of not being a good 3-point shooting team. Casey doesn't live by the threes. Is when you're down 24, you can't hit a couple of three threes, whatever that and get hot, and all of a sudden it's down to 10. If you're hitting nothing but twos, it's a lot of extra possessions that you have to hold on to. So, Dodgers or Astros or both. A little PP, public parlay tonight?
Easy. Dodgers win. Astros win. they might both win on the run line.
That would be nice. Right now, a 270 minus 138 Astros parlay is plus 136. What at Astros line? We'll talk about it tomorrow. Great job, Dave. As always, Cam and Gabe coming up next here on the Grid.